Lance Stroll compared driving his own Formula One car to electrocuting himself in a chair. Not a rough ride, not uncomfortable, an electric chair. Now, normally that is the kind of line you would write off as a driver venting after a bad session, except his team boss backed it up completely. Adrian Newey stood in front of the media and said his own drivers were risking permanent nerve damage. That is Aston Martin's 2026 season in one sentence. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why the team just staked everything on one single race weekend. 10 races into the season, Aston Martin had exactly 1 point. Think about that for a second. Hundreds of millions of dollars, a brand new campus at Silverstone, a factory works deal with Honda, and the biggest signing of them all, Adrian Newey, arguably the greatest car designer the sport has ever seen. All of that for a single point through 10 rounds. And even that point was not really earned. Fernando Alonso crossed the line 11th in Monaco. He only moved into the points because Sergio Perez picked up a post-race penalty for being out of position at the restart. Take that penalty away, and Aston Martin is still sitting on 0. And here is the part that should really sting. That penalty came against Cadillac, a brand new team, in its first season on the grid, still learning how a Formula One garage even operates. For months, Aston Martin, with all of its money and all of its experience, was fighting a rookie outfit just to avoid finishing dead last. So what actually went wrong? Here is where it gets interesting. The car was late. Newey has openly admitted that serious development on this year's regulations did not start until the middle of March the year before, months behind teams who were already deep into wind tunnel testing. When you start behind in Formula One, you do not catch up, you compromise. And those compromises show up exactly where you cannot afford them, in weight. The AMR 26 is estimated to have started the season somewhere around 10 to 15 kilograms over the minimum weight limit. That might not sound like much, it is enormous. Every extra kilogram means the tires work harder, the car resists rotating through corners, and in a straight line, it just will not accelerate the way it should. But weight was not even the worst of it. The Honda power unit created a vibration problem so severe it started breaking parts of the car, mirrors falling off, tail lights falling off, battery casings cracking, and it was not just the machinery suffering. Alonso said it himself after the Chinese Grand Prix, describing how he began to lose feeling in his hands and his feet during the race. Newey confirmed both his drivers were genuinely worried about permanent nerve damage. Stroll's electric chair line was not a joke, it was a warning. It got so serious that during the Australian Grand Prix weekend, the team actually limited how many consecutive laps Alonso and Stroll were allowed to complete, purely to protect their bodies. Think about that. A Formula One team, in front of the entire world, quietly capping how long its own drivers could physically stay in the car. And Alonso later summed up the whole first half of the season in one line. Australia exposed the engine, China exposed the energy deployment, Monaco exposed the chassis, Miami exposed the gearbox. Every single circuit found a new weakness. Not one problem, a whole list of them. Now here is what most people do not realize. Faced with all of that, most teams reach for the usual fix. A new front wing here, a revised floor there, small gains, race after race. Aston Martin did the opposite. They stopped developing almost entirely, for months, and poured every resource into one enormous package. That package arrives this weekend in Hungary. Newey has described it as close to a second version of the car. The core chassis and gearbox architecture stay the same, but almost everything around them has changed. New nose, completely reworked aerodynamic surfaces, a revised rear suspension, and a serious attempt to strip that excess weight back out of the car. The redesign was extensive enough that Aston Martin had to send the chassis through fresh FIA crash testing before it was even legal to race. So, what is this actually worth on the stopwatch? Newey has refused to attach a specific number publicly, only calling it, quote, a large step. But here is the real story behind the scenes. This is not one upgrade, it is two. The Hungary package is stage 1, and it is purely about the chassis. Weight out, airflow fixed, a car that finally behaves the way it was designed to. Stage 2 lands after the summer break at the Dutch Grand Prix, and that one belongs entirely to Honda. Honda's engine has been so far off the pace that it qualified for the FIA's Additional Development and Upgrade Opportunities program, a mechanism that exists specifically to let struggling manufacturers catch up mid-season. Paddock rumors suggest the revised power unit could bring as much as 50 extra horsepower, though some sources close to the team are calling that number optimistic and expect something more modest. Put the two together, chassis in Hungary and engine at Zandvoort, and that is where Aston Martin's recovery plan actually comes from. Not one miracle, two separate steps. But here is the thing, Newey has also been remarkably honest about why he will not promise anything. He has admitted the team is still relying on simulation tools that trace back to the old Jordan Grand Prix days, patched together for years rather than properly rebuilt. Which means the car can look brilliant in the wind tunnel and still surprise everyone once it actually hits the track. That uncertainty matters more than it sounds, because there is a much bigger story sitting underneath all of this. Fernando Alonso's contract runs out at the end of this season. He turns 45 this year, and Newey has openly said he is hoping a strong showing in Hungary helps convince Alonso to stay on for another year. Alonso himself is not buying that framing. Asked directly whether this upgrade will decide his future, he has pushed back publicly, saying it will not be just that there are more things on the table beyond how fast the car is in Budapest. So what does that actually mean for this weekend? It means Hungary is not really about points. Aston Martin sits so far off the pace that a miracle result was never realistic. What this weekend actually tests is whether Lawrence Stroll's entire project, the money, the factory, the Honda partnership, and the biggest name in car design, can finally start producing results instead of excuses. If the car comes alive in Budapest, this becomes the start of one of the more remarkable turnarounds in recent Formula One history. Momentum builds inside the factory, sponsors relax, and Alonso, on his own terms, decides there is still a reason to keep going. If it does not, the questions get louder fast, pressure lands on the technical department, speculation over Alonso's future stops being speculation. And a season that was supposed to launch Aston Martin toward the front of the grid instead becomes proof that money and talent alone were never going to be enough. Either way, this is the weekend that actually tells us the truth. Not the launch event, not the pre-season predictions. This one,